Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We are live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel this Thursday. Delighted that Alan Ruff and Hugh McDonald join me on the programme to talk all things European football, and we'll just cast an eye towards the weekend as well. Get the thoughts of Hugh on that Old Firm game on Sunday too, and get his prediction. Always good to get that. And of course, because of European football, there is a match that is just kicking off, which is Alashkert against Rangers. We'll look towards the other three clubs in a moment, but this one's just kicking off. It's a kind of a different side that he's been forced to put out, Hugh, just quickly for the benefit of anyone who hasn't picked up on it. The Rangers side that's been picked by Steven Gerrard. We can have a look at it now. And there's your starting 11. McCrory, inexperienced, but Patterson, Golson, Helander and Barisic. And then you've got Arfield and Davis, Kamara. The front three of Hadji, Morelos and Aribo, which, is still a strong side. The bench maybe not as strong, Hugh, but still a strong side.
Very strong side. I mean, you would have, you've got a sort of inexperienced goalkeeper in for a European game. But apart from that, strong side. I mean, people have been calling for Patterson to be included anyway this season, so an opportunity for him. Yeah, so certainly, Peter, in last week's evidence, more than enough to dispatch Alashkert, I believe.
Yeah, hi to David Bradley, Neil Gray, Paul Baird, Thomas Lee, lots of people joining us on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. But the match has just kicked off in the sunshine. There's a fair bit of heat there as well for them to deal with, Ruffy. But as Hugh mentioned, I didn't see anything that would put the fear of God into any of the Rangers team from last week's efforts. They seemed reluctant, Alashkert, to throw the ball into the box. Now, whether they're a bit more dynamic this time, we are about to find out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing they've got to hang on to, that last week they didn't show anything at all. I think they had one shot at target in the 90 minutes. So unless they are a team, who set up their stall that way away from home, and they're a different team at home, but there was no evidence last week to see that they were going to be an all-out attacking, force that are going to put Rangers under pressure. And I think that's a good Rangers side. It's certainly not a second string.
No.
The goalkeepers had experience with Livingston there for a couple of years. So they should have enough in the locker to beat this side.
Yeah, well, what about the other ties as well? We'll keep you up to date on that first half on the programme. What about the other ties? Our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi has a wee look ahead.
All four Scottish teams in Europe have the chance to make the group stages tonight, knowing that a victory will see them through. Starting with Rangers, they're in Armenia for the early kick-off at 4 o'clock against Alashkert, although several key players and manager Steven Gerrard did not make the flight. Ryan Kent, Scott Wright, James Tavernier, Calvin Bassey, Alan McGregor and John McLaughlin have all been caught up in the COVID outbreak at the club, whilst Kim Aroof and John Lundstrom are banned. Gary McAllister will take the side, who have a 1-0 lead, and claimed it was time to adapt and utilise the squad with the Europa League group stage on the line. St Johnstone have the biggest game in the club's entire history at 7 as they welcome Lask to a raucous McDermott Park with the tie poised at 1-1. Their Austrian opponents branded them as disgusting last week, and boss Callum Davidson says his side will aim to be the same again. Victory would secure at least £2.5 million for the club, and tonight would be the perfect time for the Saints to get their first win of the season. Celtic kick off at 7:15 in the Netherlands. They're 2-0 up against an AZ Alkmaar side playing at home for the first time this campaign. Hoops have been rejuvenated under Ange Postecoglou, having won 6 games in a row, but reaching the group stage will be his first statement as boss 3 days before the opening Old Firm of the season. The manager has promised to attack, so expect another end-to-end game. And finally, Aberdeen have their biggest game in Europe for 15 years, hoping for a sellout Pittodrie against Karabag at 7:45. The Dons are the only team who have to come from behind, but given their performances at home so far this year, they'll be confident they can progress. Andy Constein and Ryan Hedges are missing, but the experience of Scott Brown and the goals of Christian Ramirez will be pivotal. Let us know your predictions for all 4 games.
Well, no sooner had we said that Alashkert weren't really a side.
Oh, no.
who hadn't threatened the Rangers' goal than they had a shot. It didn't quite, trouble McCrory in the goal. So long may that continue. We're hoping that 4 teams can get through. Ruffy's gone back down to 2. Am I right? Yeah.
2.
I'm thinking 3. Hugh, where are you in the camp?
I think Rangers will go through. I think Celtic will just go through. And I have strong fears for St Johnstone and Aberdeen, so I'll go for 2.
to, okay, I'll be optimistic and go 3 in this. Tam was McManus in the 4 camp, but has gone back down to 3. As far as this game's concerned today between Alashkert and Rangers, of course, no sooner do they have to fly back from that, Stephen Gerrard hoping they'll be on a high, but then they've got the Old Firm game, and it looks as if the players who've got COVID, some of them might be available depending on consistent testing for the game on Sunday.
Yeah, it's still an area of controversy at the moment, or uncertainty is what will come about. Whether what tests will they undergo as well? Will it be lateral flow or the other tests? So yeah, we'll still not. That'll be every Old Firm match has got a rumbling story. This is the real rumbling narrative behind this one, and it'll clear up by the time the weekend comes. I actually think that even before the Rangers COVID instance, I thought Celtic would, depending on what happens tonight, of course, Celtic would be coming into this game for the first time in quite a long time with some momentum and confidence behind them. So I think it's a really, this fixture, it seems daft to say it, but every fixture, it's important. But this may be one of the signature games,
Yeah, money is obviously the main focus for all the clubs trying to get through these European matches. I mean, close to £3 million for St Johnstone would change things dramatically. Maybe not as much for Rangers and Celtic, their ambitions slightly higher financially. But Celtic go into this game knowing that they will be in the draw tomorrow morning for the Europa League, and that would be a huge financial boost. Anything you can estimate between 8-10 million, possibly more when you consider all the attractions and the things that Celtic do to get the gate money up for that match. But nevertheless, the cheque that's coming from UEFA is well received. Now, what money they will spend ahead of that might be based on this game tonight, Ruffy, against AZ Alkmaar. Here's Ange Postecoglou on the game plan, which certainly is not to defend the 2-0 advantage.
If we go there and try and defend for 90 minutes, I just think you're asking for trouble. They're a good team, and we know, at home they're going to be playing, fairly high tempo and high intensity football to score goals. And I think if we sit back, we're just going to invite pressure on ourselves. So, we've been. I think our best football is going the other way, going forward. And if we score goals, it puts more pressure on the opposition.
Well, I like his attitude to it, Ruffy. I think that's the best way to go about this game.
Yeah, I don't think you want to sit in. I think this team have showed in the first leg they have got something up front. They created chances. Celtic were fortunate enough to not concede at all, which is good. But you don't want to be going there and losing a goal in the first 5 or 10 minutes and then a wee bit of panic set in. So it's better showing your attacking force and trying to get the goal to make the game done and dusted. And I think if Celtic score that third goal, I think it'd be a big ask for them, to beat Celtic. So, no, I think that's right. I think middle to front, Celtic have got all the answers. They've got players in there who are on form and can score goals. We all know it's still a bit weak defensively. Teams are still getting chances, although they are winning quite comfortably here at home. I think this team will get chances, so it just depends how well Celtic defend.
Yeah, no James Forrest or James McCarthy either in this one. Here's the predicted lineup for Celtic against AZ Alkmaar. We haven't been too far away these days. Hart in goal, Ralston, Welsh, Starfelt and Taylor. Turnbull, McGregor and Christie, Abada, Edouard and Kyogo. What do you make of that team, if indeed that is the starting 11, Hugh?
That's a good team, but it's a very strong team, and the question marks are certainly in the back four. I think out of the back four, normally you could have had 4 question marks. A question mark sitting over the head of each of them. Welsh because of his inexperience, and Starfelt hasn't started well. I mean, it's plenty of time for him to become a player at Celtic.
He looks shaky.
Yeah, and there's plenty of time for him. I think we're sometimes too harsh on players just coming in, because they've got things to accommodate and to learn. But he hasn't looked steady.
Yeah, the manager said he's looking for 2, 3 players
Yep.
before this window closes. Where do you see them? I've counselled so many people on this one to try and see where they think the necessity is.
Well, looking through his previous press conferences, and it looks as if he feels he needs another centre back. He's got his right back, and it looks as if Ralston has now decided, brilliant, that Ralston has now made the decision for the manager that that's him got 2 right backs.
Yeah.
He's desperately need a left back, Peter.
Yeah.
But the biggest, strongest transfer story is the centre forward,
Yeah.
It's so difficult at the moment for every club in the world because especially if you're towards the lower in the pecking order, which Celtic financially are, you know. If somebody comes in and picks off an Edward, for example, do you need 2 centre forwards then?
Well, he mentioned the fact that if somebody picks Edward and picks off Christie, he's got contingency plans.
Yeah, well, you'll have plans down the line. There'll be talks going on at the moment. I mean, they're not daft, they have, if A goes, then we've got B to look at and C to sign, etc., etc. But that can be hairy, Peter.
Yeah.
If you lose Edward and then you suddenly say, we'll go to B, and then B says, you know what, I've had an offer from Germany, I'm going there.
But with all due respect, Ruffy, you're not in the least bit surprised if suddenly 2 or 3 players go out the door and they don't replace them, because that's been the norm for them. If Celtic give Ange Postecoglou the backing of 3 players before that window closes and he doesn't lose the other key players, this will be a shift that I would attribute to Dominic Mackay, without a shadow of doubt. Because, you only have to look at the last 17 or 18 years. Celtic fans have been used to having to say, they're short in a particular area.
Yeah, this would be a bad move for Celtic, because I think the supporters themselves would be fed up with that scenario. I think they've seen it happening far too often. And why would you do that when things look as if they're beginning to turn? Why would you put yourself back on the back foot? You've got the supporters really have to think that he has got people lined up, to move quickly. But as you say, the sooner the deadline comes and nothing's coming in, it's like chasing your back end, and all of a sudden,
you get caught out, but there's no breaking point, Hugh. There's no breaking point for Celtic fans on this. They can be angry. Some of them can turn up and put banners up outside Celtic Park, but the demand is such that they can get away with it.
Aye.
I sense there's a change in the attitude around Celtic Park to the point where I get a feeling that they will back him.
I think they back him. I'm pretty sure of that. I know from inside the club, they're really impressed with him. I know that. I've, talked to people inside the club, and they're really impressed with him as a man, as a manager, as a coach, as an individual. But financial reality is, if you're sitting on, 12 hours for deadline day, and somebody says, you'll take odds on Edward, but you're only getting 15 for him.
Yeah.
That 30, that's gone. You're getting 15 for him. You get him, he's going for nothing in a year.
I'll see you later. I'll drive you there. Anyway, apart from anything else, what a good chance there in the last couple of minutes, Ruffy, for Rangers. Morelos, just inside the box, looked as, you'd have put your mortgage on him to put the ball in the net, but he put it over the top of the bar. So they're getting the chances that we suspected they would do.
Yeah, I think they only need one chance. I don't think this team have got 2 or 3 goals in them, so Rangers will get chances as the game goes on. They'll have to start chasing the game, to try and get a goal. Spaces will open, and Rangers have got players, particularly in midfield, can feed the forward line, and I think Rangers will score.
Okay, to the other matches, what about St Johnstone? Big chance to see off last. This would really be a good scalp as well. Maybe not of the same stature as Galatasaray, but there's a wee bit of spice added to this one because the managers branded St Johnstone disgusting. That's not the way to go about things, Hugh.
Yes, I love all that. I love all that as a pressman, going into a press conference expecting to get, we'll take it one team at a time, and we always respect our opposition. When somebody comes out with a line like that,
there's always a little. I love it because when we're all sitting there, and then suddenly the line comes out, and you just, there's a wee murmur,
our work here is done.
And then, exactly. It's almost if the press conference starts because everybody looks around and goes, there you are, that's it, there's the line, but disgusting. St Johnstone, far from disgusting as a team.
No, I think he's probably, I mean, St Johnstone go about it in a certain way. We know what the way is. It's physical, but it's also technical as well. But
Yeah.
if you're going, it's like all managers. If you're going against a team that is of a higher pay grade than you are, you've got to level the playing field. And leveling the playing field is playing to your strengths. And if your strength is hitting diagonals to, say, Kane or Chris Kane, or if your is pressing very hard in midfield, that's what you've got to do. I actually think St Johnstone are better set up for going away, because they can do that bit of sitting in. And I know that in the game against Galatasaray they get caught out when the game opened up. When they had to come and do something, it leaves spaces, and Galatasaray had the quality. And I fear that's what might happen tonight. I hope I'm wrong, of course, but I fear that if the game opens up,
I've got a good feeling about tonight. I don't know what it is. I maybe didn't have as much of a good feeling against the quality of Galatasaray, but this one I've just got a feeling St Johnstone might get over the line with it. Of course, when you get a manager calling the team disgusting, Callum Davison has mentioned that's the type of thing that will drive his side on.
Definitely, I think I'd take that as a compliment. I think if you look at our chances, we're all really good football, and we counter-attack them really well. So I think we created space by that. I think it was great movement for our goal. So, I'd probably take that as we're really hard to play against. So definitely take that as a compliment, and hopefully we can be disgusting again on Thursday night.
Hopefully we can be disgusting again on Thursday night. Magic, Ruffy, because you need to rumble them up. I do think St Johnstone play some good football at times, but you've got Chris Kane up there. You're not exactly waiting for him to suddenly drag the ball down out of there and play a delicate 20-yard pass. He's going to put himself about.
That'll be the team talk before the game. I mean, I find that quite a lot when teams come to play like Scotland at Hampden. They get a free rein. Nobody gets in about them, and we know, like our teams, like Rangers and Celtic, they struggle when teams get about them, and that's what the manager will be saying. Like, let's get in about them. Let's not think they're coming along here to stroll about and make wee passes, and nobody's going to put them under pressure. And that's what St Johnstone will do. Just right from the very start, let them know they're in a game, because some of them, their temperament fails them a wee bit. So that would be a start, but you've still got to have some kind of technical ability and get a wee rub of the green that goes their way. And they have scored against them, so they'll feel as if they could do that again. I think so. My worries with Hugh that they open up and they have to get something, and when they have to get something, that's when.
Here's the predicted lineup. Hugh, have a look at what we think will be the starting 11 for St Johnstone. Clark in goal. Great that he's involved in the Scotland squad. Kerr, Gordon, McCart, who've been solid at the back, with Rooney and Booth on the flanks, McCann and Davison, Middleton, Kane and Witherspoon. You can tell how good they are. That picks itself, that side.
But I like the front three, because although you can say St Johnstone are disgusting, and you can see that they're primitive and all that, that's fine. But if you look at that front three, there's pace and there's guile and there's strength in that front three, and that offers hope. There's also in the team, I think Kerr's a fine football player. I think Ali McCann has got the potential to be a very good football player. He'll undoubtedly be and is an international football player, but I think he can be a very good football player. So there's things about St Johnstone, the goalkeeper, of course. So, St Johnstone are not without hope. I'm not saying that tonight. I just think that the danger is when the game begins to breathe a wee bit, that this team might impose their class.
I think this is a massive game for St Johnstone financially.
Yeah.
Because every time we see him in that toilet or wherever he is doing the interview, I actually think there are bids sitting there from other clubs for McCart, McCann, Rooney, and it depends how much money they get for this tie. One might stay or one might go. I think somebody's going to go, and this will make the management and the board, if they got put out, the board's going to say, look, we've got bids on the table here, we really need to take them, and that will determine what kind of players he's going to lose, because he knows that every time we interview him, he knows somebody's going to go. It determines which one it is that's going to go.
Well, he's on record as saying that if they can qualify for this and get the money, that will go a long way to helping them secure these people on better deals, maybe longer deals. If I'm following my gut instinct on the people that are making inquiries at the moment, I would suggest to you that Ali McCann, they'll be trying to fend off the bids after this game. I think up until the transfer window deadline, Ali McCann is the most likely to leave. I know there are clubs interested in him. I know they want to buy him. It's that point where even if St Johnstone qualify, I still think they'll be subjected to bids from English clubs for McCann.
I think so as well, and maybe Scottish clubs, Peter, as well. I mean,
Yeah,
I think the thing about, you know, the great narrative in football is you get 2 or 3 veterans will come out and say, well, he should stay on for a year, play more football, then go next year. But if you're Ali McCann and his advisors, and I don't know what he's at St Johnstone, but you know, if he goes to, for example, a championship club comes in and says, right, we want him, he's immediately on $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Maybe some of the English Premier League clubs might take him and loan him back.
Well, that's a possibility, and that would be attractive.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah. That's an attractive option for all parties. Because a young lad can't sit there and say, with the best will in the world, a young lad can't sit there and say, well, I'll have another year just playing for St Johnstone and learn my trade, when the comparison is, I set myself up for life. I mean, you set yourself up, I mean, I'm run-of-the-mill 4-year championship deal. Run-of-the-mill, that's without your signing on fee, is £2 million.
Yeah. Kenny Whitson says, McCart is going to Hibs if St Johnstone go out. Well, Kenny, just keep your eyes peeled on this one. It's certainly something we're going to be looking at. At the moment, it's still Alashkart 0, Rangers 0. Rangers have had a couple of chances. They've moved the ball about well, and I do think they're more than capable of getting that other goal that would basically kill off anything from the Armenians, but we'll keep our eye on that, keep our fingers crossed with it. As far as Aberdeen are concerned, we had a chat with Andrew Shiney, our man in the northeast, about this game and what it means to everyone. Stephen Glass says it is a special night tonight in the club's history.
I think it's going to be a special occasion. When we started preparing for the Hacken game, we didn't talk about this game, but we were hopeful we were going to be in this situation. We were hopeful going into the game away in Azerbaijan that we would still be in a position to win the game, which we are. So we know what's at stake for the club. We know what the future holds if we get through, and it's something that the club's been desperate for a number of years. And it's 90 or 120 minutes plus penalties away, and we'll do everything we can to get there.
The manager's ready. The manager's ready for extra time and penalties. That tells you all you need to know about it, Ruffy. But one of the things that I think is so huge about this game is Dave Cormack has already mentioned he wants to try and spend and back the manager. This is the key to the funds.
Yeah, you're right. You know, they're the same as everybody else. You know, there'll be names on a piece of paper that the manager wants, and you don't get them if you've not got the money. So that'll be the pressure that they're on. I'm just a wee bit worried about their back four. I don't think McCrory's a centre half, and 2 young full backs in there as well. Everywhere else, quite positive, but they always seem to let themselves down in this cup. You know, when we're all expecting them to come through. It's the same, sort of a reverse role of Karabag score. You know, I can't see Aberdeen scoring 3 goals. You know, they haven't done it in the last 3 games that they've played. So they'd have to come up with a big show. So I really do hope they scored first, and the whole place just gets absolutely lifted and the momentum takes them over the line.
Well, they definitely need a central defender. I mean, the manager's admitted that. That's a blow, Considine. I actually thought they needed a central defender, even with Considine.
Absolutely. I mean, I thought Considine had the look of, you know, somebody that, you know, could be a squad player. But you weren't, you know, even in the early games of the season, you were just noticing he just wasn't quite at the levels before. And, you know, you said to yourself, well, he's fine for backup. So I think undoubtedly, I think the manager actually said it in the press, definitely need a centre half. And that's my worry, Alan, tonight as well. It's defensively. I think Aberdeen, in the way that Glass is playing, is, you know, proactive, getting at teams, trying to be, you know, sort of enterprising. So I'm not too bothered the front 6, but I think the back 4.
Yeah. Well, you have a look at this team, Ruffy, and just highlighting what Hugh mentioned there. Lewis in goal, Ramsey, McCrory and Gallagher, McKenzie, and then Ferguson, Brown and Ojo's fine, Jet, Ramirez and Hayes, fine. It's that weak link at the back.
Yeah, I mean, it's to be expected as well. You've got 2 young boys in there learning their trade. And as I said earlier, I don't think McCrory's a centre half, you know, and so it's a makeshift, you know. They have got the Motherwell captain in there, you know, who gives a bit of experience, but the rest of them, I would expect they'll get chances. I just really hope when they get the chances they take them, you know, because Pittodrie is a great place to be when, you know, everybody's pushing in the right direction and the whole place is buzzing, and that might take them through. So it's up to them, you know. I really do think they've got to score the first goal.
Yeah, Joe Aribo, I can tell you, has hit the post for Rangers, so close chance. It's so hot there that they're actually having a water break, and I don't think anybody has any grievance with that.
I've got one grievance. When are we getting our water break?
I don't think we're quite up at 30. I think they were talking about 30 degrees. So
still taps off in here, Peter. I mean, come on.
It will be. But nevertheless, they're having that little water break, which brings me nicely for us to just give you a little break in the football chat to talk about some football attire, because we're giving away a Celtic and a Rangers top ahead of the game on Sunday, and our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi is giving you an insight into how you can win it.
This week at PLZ Soccer, we're giving away both a Rangers and a Celtic jersey ahead of Sunday's Old Firm. All you've got to do to win this Rangers top is subscribe to the YouTube channel and comment on the live show saying Rangers. To win this Celtic jersey, all you've got to do is subscribe to the PLZ Soccer YouTube channel and comment on the live show saying Celtic. Don't forget, it's the Old Firm giveaway special. You could win a Rangers or a Celtic jersey. Just subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, and the football show, don't forget, is every day at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, simple. All you have to do is in the live feed, you can put in Rangers or Celtic. And at the end of this week on the Friday, we'll pick out a Rangers winner and a Celtic winner. Good luck with that. Still 0-0 over in Armenia. We've got obviously St Johnstone against Lask, AZ Alkmaar against Celtic, and Karabag against Aberdeen to look forward to. Hopefully on tomorrow's programme, we will indeed be celebrating, hopefully, 4 teams from Scotland in the group stages. We shall see. We'll also look ahead in greater detail to the weekend's football in Scotland. Of course, the big game is on the Sunday at Ibrox, Rangers against Celtic. What do you make, Hugh, of Ron Gordon, the Hibs chief, saying that basically he believes that there should be less teams in the professional setup in Scotland? This is what he had to say regarding the issue. We have 42 teams in the SPFL, which is huge for a country of 5.5 million. My sense is somewhere in the middle of that, 24. You could keep the pyramid going, but focus on the full-time professionals that can grow the game. Ultimately, what happens at the top, it trickles down to the smaller clubs. You can still keep all the payments and the residuals flowing down, but that's a debate we probably need to have to see if it makes sense to look at a structure that gives focus to growing the product and the league. Well, that's based on the premise that when the glass is full, that it does trickle down to the smaller clubs. But I read a quote today from someone who said that's the same argument with regards to when the rich people, obviously, and the glass is full, it trickles down to the poor people. Yeah. But one person suggested, and it may be in a political sense, no, what happens is they make the glass bigger and the poor don't really get the trickle-down effect. And I think that's very relevant to Scottish football.
I think it's totally relevant. And you're going to say to yourself, well, what structure do you want to bring in? Say he wants 2 leagues of 12, right? What does he want underneath that? Does he want still access to the 2 leagues of 12?
Yeah.
And does he kind of, if he's got those 2 leagues of 12, they'll not be very keen in giving the access to the teams below, so they won't want to fund them so they can pose a threat to the 24. And the pyramid system, to all intents and purposes, withers and dies. I'm a great fan of the pyramid system, Peter, and I'll tell you what.
You're a great fan of a lot of the clubs? A lot of clubs?
Yeah, I think it's an irrelevant, I think it's an argument that's overblown. You know, if you say, oh, we've got too many, we've got 42 professional clubs, that's too many. In what way is it too many?
No, I'm asking you on the basis that I mean, in a free trade and a business, this is a business. If 42 clubs can all conduct their business in a proper manner, get on with it.
I see, and the clubs below, by the way.
Yeah. But the unfortunate thing is, in this pyramid system, you have a group of people at the top whose sole intent is to strangle the money.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, they don't want the system.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want this. And I've been going this season.
I was going to say that.
I've been going to games at the bottom, and Peter and Alan, I've been really enthused by the pyramid system and what it's doing for players and what it's doing for Scottish. There's a huge energy at the bottom of Scottish football. It's like it's like an energy and it's been released.
Yeah.
And I think it's to be encouraged, not discouraged. And I do have the same view of your anonymous commenter about, you know, I let the glass flow over, give us peace. It's not all the answer to that, you know. I always remember the golden rule, as I say many times in this show, the golden rule when they change these things is them that has the gold makes the rules.
Yeah.
That's, you know.
No, I think Hugh's perfectly correct. He's been to Kelty Hearts. He saw the generation there. He saw the people who are promoting the game. You see the crowds that turn up to these games. And I think the teams like that have given everybody else a kick up the backside.
Yep.
The teams who have been in that division and just motoring on and no doing anything. I think now they're lifting it and saying, hey, we don't buck up with ideas. All these teams, these new teams with backers behind them.
Look at Queen's Park.
We're going to fall out of this.
Queen's Park have changed completely to become a professional club.
But their game plan, I think, is to become the third biggest
they're
Glasgow club.
going to mow Ruffy's grass.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I think that's their intention, Ruffy.
Yeah, we are the #1 club in Glasgow anyway. You know, listening to our turnaround during the games.
Well, exactly. The other thing I was going to say to you as well is, Ruffy, on the basis that I took a few pelters for it, obviously checking various things that, you know, from our sniff around the transfer story of Kevin Nisbet. Hibs have opened talks with Nisbet now over an improved deal.
I wonder why.
Funny that, Ruffy? After the story that broke at the weekend, funny how they've all tried to absolutely hammer us, but suddenly they've opened talks.
Yeah, there's obviously been a phone call, you know, to run it by them, to say, like, what do you think of this, you know, and whatever response they got, you know, they had to tell the player, the agent would know about it. So obviously this generally what's happened is, okay, come in a bit, we need to safeguard our asset here, but it's okay doing all that, but when that, whatever it is, £3 million bid lands on a table, then people start making decisions, and obviously that bid isn't on the table because they've been distracted, but if they really, really want them, and a X amount goes on the table, then they have to look at it.
As you know, the story. Celtic want Griffiths out the door.
Oh, surprise, surprise. See, I was surprised before, you know, Postecoglou came in. If you look at a manager, right, you always look at what managers do, not necessarily what they say, what they do. And if you look at this guy's career, he's not going to change his career at 55. His career is based totally on very, very fit players buckling to his, you know, it's his way or the highway.
High press.
And going high press.
Yep.
That's all he does. That's all he's done in his career. You go, well, what are you giving Griffiths a contract for? It's as simple as that. And that's beyond the baggage.
Well, I think that was before he even got his mitts in there, to be honest with you. And I think, you know, talk about an immediate mistake a week later after offering him. And I think, you know, there are times when you actually were thinking he was a guy with 9 lives, you know, but I think he's run out of all favours now, and I think Celtic are, you know, quite happy now to explore every option to get him off the books. Whether those sweeteners come in, as I mentioned with regards to Nisbet, only time will tell. I can tell you that Alash Kert against Rangers, what a chance it was for Rangers there with a one-on-one with Morelos, but just couldn't put it past the goalkeeper, straight at him.
Well, that's what I said. The more chances they get, you know, you're liable to say they're going to take one of them, and one of them will be enough, and they will continue to get chances because that team will have to open up and try and get something, and that's when Rangers will pick them off.
Ruffy, can I ask you, are we starting to look a wee bit worried at the Scotland squad? That's Stuart Armstrong out now, a calf injury. he'll miss the match against Newcastle, so he's out. McTominay's out. So have we got enough in the midfield that we think, okay, we can sustain that loss?
I think we've got enough in the midfield, but it's what kind of this is a big ask for the manager to go to Denmark and go to Austria. You know, it depends what kind of formation he picks or what team he picks to get something out of their games. You know, so obviously it's a blow when you lose, you know, quality players. But I think we've more than enough in midfield.
Yeah. Okay. Right now, I think we are just beyond the half hour in that game. Alashkirk 0, Rangers 0, and I think, you know, just looking at this match, if Rangers can sneak another goal away from home, that'll end the Armenians' hopes and put Rangers into the draw tomorrow, and that would be a real bonus. Of course, at 5 o'clock today, it'll be the draw for the Champions League, and that's really huge. That's the painful part of it. I mean, that's why this season is absolutely massive for the title winners. Straight
into the Champions League. I mean, I don't know about you, I watched the games on the telly the last 2 nights, you know, the Champions League qualifiers, you know, with Brøndby and Monaco and Sheriff Tiraspol, and you've got Eindhoven playing and Benfica, and all these teams really scrapping.
Yeah. And Sheriff Tiraspol
and in comfortably.
I'd love to see what their budget was.
And in comfortably, Peter, you know, a 3-0 away win, and then surviving the away tag. But I just looked at it and I just thought, it's that kind of real poignant feeling you've got. I mean, you know, remember the days where and it doesn't seem that long ago that you took it for granted. Champions League draw, Celtic and Rangers both in it. I mean, I remember it would be 2007, you know, 2008, 2007 to 8, travelling. We were travelling, Peter, every week. You know, it was Celtic away, Rangers away. You know, just you're on a plane every week. Really exciting as well for the. I mean, we know the financial benefits, but really exciting for the game of Scotland. So, a great pity, but next year it's back.
Yeah, absolutely. And look forward to it as well, Ruffy. As far as some of the main stories going out, we're keeping our fingers crossed. Don't forget, tell us what you think of the matches that are coming up tonight, whether, you know, we're celebrating Rangers getting in. The match is still ongoing as we are out live. If you're watching this a little later on, then you'll know exactly the Rangers' fate. But hopefully tomorrow on the programme with Charlie Adam and Tam McManus and Ruffy, we'll be celebrating all 4 clubs. Whether that happens or not, only time will tell. You can give us your thoughts on them. And if you want to, you can download the PLZ Soccer app as well. And when you download the app, all you have to do is hit submissions and you can record yourself. If you record a message and we use it on the programme, then it will send you out something special. Simple as that. One of the big stories that's going and doing the rounds at the moment, Ruffy, is apparently, you know, I think Jorge Mendes was in speaking to Manchester City. Whether, you know, he's going to take the plunge and join City, I'm talking of course about Ronaldo, is another matter. It's mind-boggling that at 36 he could get a 2-year deal. There's all sorts of real speculation now that he's agreed to personal terms with Man City. The Spanish press have been reporting that. What a major coup that would be.
Yeah, I think there would be a lot of people, not a lot, the ones with money would like to take the gamble, and what that would do for a player like that to go to their club. I thought it was interesting. A player of that calibre, and everyone know, in the Juventus president saying we need to get him off the books. You know, to lose a player of that quality, and it's exciting. We were all hoping Messi would come. You know, I think to England, and if Ronaldo comes to England, I think that would be not a substitute, but I think it would be great for them. You know, but it just depends who takes the plunge.
I know they've got Cavani, but I'm surprised Manchester United don't think that would be a wee bit of the jigsaw that could give them the short-term hit in the difference in games to win the league. Not just to compete for second and third and fourth.
To win it.
He's a winning the league. Whereas maybe he's thinking, I'm here to win the Champions League one more time.
Yeah, I think it makes much more sense for Manchester United, not just in I think it makes much more sense for player and club. I don't see what sense it makes for Man City to get Ronaldo, in that he's not a Pep player. again, we look back, what does Pep want? He wants players that follow his orders. He wants players disciplined on the park, and he wants players that will press all the time. Now, anybody that's watched Ronaldo, and I've been lucky and blessed enough to watch him live over the last few seasons on quite a few occasions. He does not track back now. He just doesn't.
Yeah.
Now, there's a reason for that.
Is there not a situation where sometimes he's played without a number 9, but are we not dismissing the fact that Pep Guardiola could be like Marcello Lippi when he was once asked, what style of football do you like to play? And he says, it depends on the players I have available.
Yep, but having said that, again, looking back at what managers do, Guardiola has never been comfortable with big stars that don't press. We saw that with Aguero. He would drop Aguero from his team. I think it's a really strange move, not for Man City as such, but for Pep. I think it's a really strange move for him, because he isn't a player that would be automatically, you would say, would be seamlessly integrated into that team.
I'll tell you, there's a huge swing in this match towards Rangers, because quite simply Alashkert are now down to 10 men. There was a late clip on the Rangers goalkeeper and they've been reduced to 10 men. It was the kick in the head, and I think Robbie McCrory has got a sore one, and James has been sent off.
Yeah, well, you would have to say that's that done and dusted. They can't muster anything with 11. You would think down to 10 men that Rangers would go forward and get that goal that they need. But what a break that is, for that to happen during the game for Rangers. Yeah,
absolutely massive. I wonder what Fergie's thinking about the Ronaldo situation. If ever a man turned round to the board at Man United to say, what are you doing? The inactivity here is mind-boggling.
He would love him back, because he loved players who played with their chest out. He loved players who and he loved Ronaldo, by the way. He loved him as a personality and as a character. And Ronaldo loved him. There's some beautiful little vignettes on YouTube, of when
coming down after winning European Championships.
Gaffer, and he's there as well. So and I know that, if any time that Alex abroad in that, or in Madrid at the time when it was Madrid, Ronaldo was always so pleased to see him, etc., etc. And he would welcome back, because then again, I'm not saying Ronaldo won't be a success at Man City. He's one of the greatest players ever. Of course he'll be a success there. I'm just saying he wouldn't be the natural fit there.
Yeah.
Whereas if you brought him back to Manchester United, paraded him, you've got these guys that can work around him, good players, young players working around him, your Sanchos, whatever. This gives you this gives you a real talisman, this gives you something. And I just think that would be the most natural fit, but it would cost money, of course, and Manchester United have spent a bit of money already this summer. Yeah,
interesting to see how that develops over the next 24 hours. We're fast approaching half-time in that match between Alashkert and Rangers. 0-0 at the moment. Alashkert down to 10 men. Rangers will probably play a possession game and just wait and try and pick their moment. It's as simple as that. The one thing I was going to say to you is persevere in our competition. If you're on YouTube in our live feed, you can just post a comment on Celtic or Rangers and you hit the subscribe button. If you just hit the subscribe button in there as well and post the team that you want to win the jersey, then on Friday we'll pick out a lucky winner of a Rangers and a lucky winner of the Celtic jersey. And there's lots more to come as far as prizes are concerned on the programme. Lots of giveaways coming up, and thank you to everyone who's hitting the subscribe button and joining the ever-growing football family. And with that in mind, we love talking about football, Hugh. Got to get your thoughts. Rangers and Celtic will have European aspirations tonight, but they also have domestic ambitions, and the big one will be non-stop action on Sunday, but it'll be full of 50,000 Rangers fans, not a Celtic fan to be seen anywhere in this match. But it's not as wide a gap as everybody suggested quite a few months ago.
No, and it's also, there's been a strange thing that's happened as well, which happens in football at times, where things flip very, very quickly. And the momentum and the confidence, Celtic have gained in that. I mean, they've bought into, you can see it by their body language on the park, you can see it by the goals that they've scored, that they're buying into the manager's philosophy. And so they go, one thing you can say with certainty is they go to Ibrox with confidence. Now, what happens after that depends on so many things, but this, I could say for the first time in a year, that Celtic can say, well, we're confident going. And because it wasn't apparent in the last few Old Firm matches there was any confidence at all in the green ranks.
Yeah. Can you see them winning?
Yes, I can see them winning.
You can see Celtic winning at Ibrox?
Yeah, I'm not saying they are going to win, because if I knew that, I would be sitting in Ruffy's Beach in Bahamas doing that. But yeah, and I can see them winning, and that's part of what I'm saying about the confidence in the Celtic ranks, is that's the first time, for a long time we've been either sitting on this couch or on Zoom talking about a Celtic Rangers game, and I've come out and said, yeah, I can, all the time it's been, I remember with Stephen Naismith, we were just saying, it's hard to make a case for them. You were trying to make a case, trying to come up with some evidence that would suggest Celtic were in, and you're saying, there's none of that is very persuasive. Whereas I think you can come up with a theory of why Celtic will win on Sunday.
And do you feel as if your prediction, what is your prediction?
2-1, I think Celtic will win.
2-1 to Celtic?
Yeah.
And are you doing that prediction because you've fallen behind in the predictor table at the moment and you're maybe desperate for points?
That's part of it, of course. Nobody would ever deny that. But I think it's just because it's that little sea change. I'm not very confident about it, because I don't think Rangers have collapsed or anything. I think a lot of the criticism then's been over the top. But I think certain things have come out that makes you think, you know what, Celtic have got a chance here. I don't think Rangers defensively are great at the moment. And this weekend's going to be interesting as well, Rangers and Celtic off the field. I mean, and I'm not just talking about the COVID stuff.
The signings.
There's going to be stuff going on.
I still think there's one player to go out at Rangers.
Well, one player, I mean, you'd think fiscally one player has to go out.
Yeah, it's an interesting one as well. But I think the one real bonus, and this is where I think unless something catastrophic happens in the second half of the match, Rangers should be thinking, right, here's the draw. Let's hope there's some real humdinger teams that we get biggies. Because Steven Gerrard has said they've proven they're a last 16 side. So they'll be looking and thinking, okay, some goodies in the group stage and then off to the knockout stages.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Rangers supporters will be over the moon, if they get into the group stages, because it doesn't matter who's in the group. It's a sellout. It's an absolute sellout. But you want maybe a couple of wee tasty ones. The teams that we go, they've been a good team throughout the year, so you can buy into that. But they won't have problem. Neither of the two of them have problem selling out the grounds.
Yeah, I don't think anybody will be hanging on your every word, Ruffy, and don't take this as a slur on you as my friend and pundit. Well, my acquaintance, as Davy Provan would say. There are no friends. I'm only winding you up, Ruffy. 2-1 he's going for. What are you going for?
No, I don't think Celtic will win the game. I am convinced there's a turnaround and they're better prepared. Middle to front, as we keep saying, but that defence are not particularly losing goals, but teams are still getting chances. I'm not going to be kidded on by the St Mirren score, because they were down to 10 men. Dundee were just poor, so they played Hearts at home, and Hearts scored twice against them. All right, one was a penalty. And that chance, Alkmaar had a few chances. I know I'm painting a picture here. Alkmaar had too many chances for me. So I think Rangers will get chances as well. But to back that up, I agree with you. The Rangers team who don't lose goals isn't there anymore. That was a solid team last year who went through so many games without not losing a goal, not even conceding at any particular time. So I think that has changed in their makeup. They are going to lose goals. And I think both of them, we're in for an exciting game at the weekend. So I'm going to go none each.
Yeah. I knew.
And now I've still got the motor.
I could see it
I've still
coming.
got the motor to go.
Yeah,
I
you
can change my mind.
You go for a draw?
No, I'm going for a draw. I'm going to go, at this moment, I'm going for one each.
One each. Okay. Interesting. And a lot of people will be offering their own tuppence worth on it. What do you think? Is it going to be a goal fest? Is it going to be a draw? Rangers, the champions, will they have the home advantage and the crowd behind them? And of course, the chance to continue their domination in the domestic scene, albeit in the league. Give us your thoughts on that, and we will be reading out more than a few of them as we go on tomorrow and look at it in depth. But of course, lots of people have been offering their prediction right now on how they see it going. I'll tell you, I think the key issue here, Hugh, and I think this is the key issue, is apart from anything else, once you get past the games that they're playing at the moment, Alashkert and AZ Alkmaar, there's a crucial period where they'll be looking at Celtic and Rangers and saying, okay, let's see who they're going to buy, if they indeed add anybody else, if Juninho Bacuna is the only one for Rangers, maybe there might be a sneaky one. Will they lose anybody? And will Celtic stick to their guns and say, okay, we're going to try and give the manager 3, and if somebody goes out, we'll replace that one as well? I have my doubts. But also, I think, interestingly enough, Hugh, when I look at the other teams, I think the activity coming up in the other matches could be the major determination on where they're going to finish in the league. I'm talking about what's the ambition at Aberdeen? Can Hibs keep a hold of Nesbitt? Will Hearts try and strengthen as well? Those signings and trying to hold on to their talent could be the key to European places. And I think the most vulnerable is St Johnstone.
Yeah, I think so, because, you know, St Johnstone, in terms of revenue, are obviously at the bottom of that league. You know, they consistently, outpunch their financial strength or the financial resources. So, and that's a crucial game for them tonight. I still think, I think, you know, it's certain that there's interest in Ali McCann. You know, you just watch him, even against Galatasaray. You watched him against Galatasaray and you said, he is not embarrassed, or he's not, you know, he still sticks out, you know, when that team's got quality in it up against him. He wasn't shown in a bad light that day, and I think that's a crucial one. I'd be surprised if he stayed beyond the weekend, whatever way it fell.
Yeah.
But what you hope is that if any decision on him's made quickly, what you hope again is that St Johnstone remain in Europe, and they can get players into, they'll not get players in of McCann's quality, but they can get players in to shore up. Yeah.
Interesting times. We'll be keeping across all the transfers in and out. Look out for it on our website as well. If you go to www.plzsoccer.com, you can stay up to date with that. The quickest way, and it's really the way that the world is going at the moment, if you quite simply put the PLZ Soccer app, you can get it in Google Play and in the App Store. It has all the breaking stories on the app, and you can also, as well as Scottish, English, European and World, you can hit submissions and record yourself, or just simply post a message in there and it automatically drops to us and we can read it out for you. And there's the shop where you can get the likes of an Andrea Pirlo t-shirt, and a few other legends that we have on show. And we've also got the Maestro tops on sale in red, blue, green and black as well. If you want, you can work, train and play in them, Ruffy. They're always good. You can play tennis in them, you can go for a walk, you can go out as a wee trendy.
Yep, excellent quality as well. You could walk in with it, you could go shopping in them.
Yeah, as you often do, down that supermarket, just strolling about with a trolley, nothing in it, just strolling about.
The world go by.
That's exactly it, Hugh, in a nutshell. Anyway, apart from anything else, thank you to you for all your messages. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Put Celtic or Rangers if you want to win those two tops behind Ruffy, and we'll announce the winner tomorrow on the programme of the Rangers shirt and the Celtic shirt as well. And then there'll be more prizes on offer in next week's programme too. So lots to look forward to. Half time in that match, Alashkirk 0, Rangers 0. Rangers still with the advantage, slender as it may be, but they also have a man advantage going into the second half. We'll keep our fingers crossed for Rangers. Good luck to St Johnstone, Celtic and Aberdeen in the European competition as well. Thanks to Hugh McDonald, thanks to Ruffy, and thanks to you for watching us here from myself, Peter Martin. Thanks for watching.